Good day, folks. Michelle here, living in Ghana for almost a year. I started these videos at the encouragement of some persons who have had discussions and about my experiences here. Initially, the experiences were mainly as it pertains to the house I'm building, progress, the issues I encountered with the house itself and dealing with workmen and such, and this is directly in line with that. I've had videos where I've touched on issues with my roof, my windows. I'm not sure I've given a lot of details. I think mainly it was identifying, at least partially, that some of the workmen here can't be trusted to, do their work, complete it in a way that is satisfactory to us, the clients, and so on. However, a number of, I wouldn't say I've overlooked some things I haven't mentioned, but today I wanted to talk about the issues with the house as it pertains to the electricity. Now, as with other things prior to this, I was referred to by someone who was supposed to oversee the building of a house. And as with the roof, the windows, well, the very building, the same person referred me to the electrician that was supposed to put in the boxes and so on, probably eventually put in the wiring and so on. But now keep in mind that you don't know how these things are done, and you don't know that they are done incorrectly or could have done better. Maybe not necessarily incorrectly, but could have been done in a better way, taking into consideration your costs and so on, until you are faced with using other persons. And that's the case with me where it concerns the electricals. Now, I can say that the persons, when they come, one of the largest problem I had was the fact that they beat out all of these walls. Well, that all of them, a number of them, not all, just those that have encountered, they don't really clean up behind themselves. And I've actually mentioned this in a previous video, that one of the things that stood out to me where it concerns the guy who tiled my second room and sorted out the bathroom issues for me, was that he and his workers cleaned up after themselves. I didn't have to ask them. So here were these gentlemen who came. They knocked out walls in every room, because they're putting in the boxes for the electricals, so every room was touched. In the largest area, the living area, where they call the hall, I had like 4 or 5 areas for boxes placed in, and the walls, going up to the ceiling, were also knocked out. Now, they left late. 1, 2, they did a really high, no, I shouldn't use that term. They did a lot of mortar, a lot of it, so much so that I wondered why they were doing so much. I knew what the purpose was, putting in some to hold the piping in on the wall, but the amount that they did was really concerning. And when the gentleman was finished for the night, he told me, when I questioned the amount of mortar that was left, he pointed out that the mason would come the following morning and use it. No, want to say what I'm just the first thing that came to mind. But let's just say I'm not a construction worker, but I'm not a total idiot. So telling me that the mason would use it when he came in the morning was condescending. Is that the right word? It was, well, all I settled on, it was very disrespectful, because it really said you're an idiot, right? But anyway, my mason at the time was kind enough, after getting ready to leave, stay back, and he used the mortar, not to do what I would have hoped it done, but he was good enough to take his clothes back off and use the mortar to create a back step, because I didn't have a back step at the time. I had that throw rocks there and stepped out on it so that you don't step in the mud, but he stayed back and used that mortar to create a back step, right? So instead of having it there stay and harden. All right, now what is my the point of this video now? I through I think it's divine, because one of the things I believe is that when God orchestrates your life, he does it in amazing ways. So I actually had met someone who I was introduced to for another purpose, and just it pricked me to ask him if he, based on how he worked, I knew he was, you know, real professional, and it is obvious that whatever his qualification, whatever work he does for you, it will be done in a very proper and I'm not sure what else words to use, but I knew work would be done good, properly finished, the aesthetics and everything. So anyway, I asked this gentleman if he did electricals, and he said yes, that's what he did. He has worked in Accra and so on. And I asked him if he could do an assessment on the house and tell me what it would cost in terms of materials and labor to wire the entire house, which was what we got to. So he came, and I didn't know, for example, that if you put your piping on the floor, you use less wiring than if you did it from the roof, right? So that was one of the things he pointed out. He made a comment too that stuck with me. He said a lot of the workers in the area, and this is a Ghanaian saying it now, this is not my words, a lot of them are used to working in this specific area. They have never gone out of the area. So when things are upgraded, how you do things, if they are upgraded, or even not upgraded, a better way or a cheaper way for the client, they wouldn't know, you know. So he has worked in Accra, as I said before. So he pointed out, I do know though that there are persons in this area who have created, done up houses with using the piping on the floor, but I didn't take into consideration the distance of like the sockets from the floor to you know, against the wall, how high they were from the wall. I didn't think about that, and it was interesting some of the things he said. The person who recommended the initial electricians who did this, ironically, when I thought of like the distance from the floor, and said that theirs were done properly, and it brought me to the other thought I've always had, that as a single woman here, it's not necessarily about the professional, well, yet it is about the professionalism, but it's not necessarily about the skill of the worker. It's usually about the sexism, yeah, and the professionalism. Because if you're a professional, a skilled laborer, worker, whatever, and that's your business, serving, professionally, it shouldn't matter whether I am rich or poor, or whether or not I'm a male or a female, right? So it it talks about, and it impacts whether or not they act in a professional way. I am going to be doing a video about the cost when I get the quote, but this one is just to say that I'm in the process of tackling the issues with my electricals, and I will let you guys know what had to be done to reduce what it would cost me. For the bedroom and the bathroom area, I have to go through the walls. So whatever amount of wiring that will take, I just have to do it. I'm just saying that it can be done in a way that you don't end up paying so much on the materials. And I didn't know that doing it on the floor ends up using less. So I'm just sharing that and preparing the groundwork for getting to the quote when I do get the quote, and how I had to deal with the issues. Right now I have ceiling in the bedroom, the bath, both bedrooms and the bathroom, so they'd have to navigate over the joints in the ceiling to go into those areas to put in the ceiling lights. I know persons have put their lights on the walls. I chose not to do that, so everything will be coming from the center of my roof in each living area, right? So it's really about identifying that the work done on the electricals were done partially. They left some areas, not some areas. I don't have a lot of sockets. I'm not that type of person. I'm really practical. If it's not necessary, I'm not gonna do it, and if I can work around it, since it's my house, I will know what I can work with and what I can't work with. So some persons will have 4 or 5 sockets in their rooms. I'm not that type of person. Maximum maybe 3, and it depends on the space. If it's the hall, I think I have 4 in the hall, so that's understandable because of the size of the hall, right? But if you are in my position where it concerns your finances, and you end up coming here with the idea of building as you go along, this is something you have to think about too, and you have to be watching them. I think I said that already in previous videos. You may not, I like to think that you'll not end up in my position because you have watched my videos. And what to, if you have watched my videos, you will know what to look for and what not to look for, and you will also have someone who has since then met persons who are better qualified, who work better, who knows their business better, who are more qualified, not necessarily, but definitely in this case I now know more qualified persons, and persons definitely who are more professional. All right, so when I get that quota, I'll be back with another video, but this is just to discuss the preliminaries leading up to that. All right, so see you in another video, and thank you for tuning in again. I'm currently at 400 subscribers. I very much appreciate those persons who have tuned in regularly. I know it seems I have posted like 2-3 videos every week, but most of the multiple postings is because I have missed. A lot of them were done, like a couple have been done from last year. A number of them have been done from last year. So the postings is not like I do regular multiple posts. It's just I was trying to catch up with those that were done and just not posted. All right, so I'll see you in another video, and we'll have a discussion regarding the quotes for my electricals. I'll also still tap into this source in terms of the solar, so I'll hear what he says when he comes in with that quote as well. So I'm still working on both. All right, have a nice day. It's Sunday, my daughter just cooked, right? So I'm about to have my dinner.